What's going on, everybody? Welcome to CK Media. I'm Colby. This is my buddy Kyrie, and this is episode 1. So we're going to dive right into it. So this year, one of the biggest boxing matches for this year, probably the next 2 years. Tank and Garcia. Ryan Garcia. Who's winning?
Well, you know how I feel. I personally, I feel Tank's going to win it all the way. He's more of an experienced fighter. He's been through a lot more fights than Ryan has. He dealt with much harder opponents, so, and especially he just had a tune-up. Ryan didn't have no tune-up yet, so, I don't feel like, it'd be a good fight for Ryan. I feel like Tank will get it all the way.
So you saw why Ryan didn't want to do a tune-up fight before this?
No, I didn't see that, actually.
So his last fight with Fortuna, I forget his first name, I think it's like Julio, or anyway, his last name's Fortuna. He said that the reason why he didn't want a tune-up fight before Tank was because he didn't want to put in jeopardy any injury or any chance of getting hurt and postponing it. So I don't know. I kind of understand why he wants to do it. I also think it's a huge fight. It's probably going to be the biggest fight this year. Especially for Ryan. Both fighters say that this is the biggest fight of their career. I think it's the biggest fight of Ryan's career in total. I think it's going to be the biggest fight he's ever going to have, unless he jumps up in weight class. But for Tank, I think this might be his biggest fight yet. But I don't think it's going to be his biggest fight ever.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. I think also, I don't think he got the tune-up because I think he was banking on the Pacquiao fight. Because remember, he was supposed to have the fight with Pacquiao. It was supposed to be Ryan versus Pacquiao, an exhibition match, which I'm like, I don't really get the point because you're not even at that level to really get to the point like, oh, let's start doing exhibition matches. Like Floyd. Floyd does exhibition, but Floyd made his name. He's undefeated for a reason. So
yeah.
There's nothing else for him to prove. So for him to do exhibition makes sense. But for Ryan, I don't think it kind of makes sense. And I think that's what he was banking on. And then I think when he finally came to realization, like, it's not going to happen, I think that's when he really took the fight. And like I said, I don't feel like, personally, I don't feel like it's Tank's biggest fight. I can't sit up here and say it's not. The man said it himself, it's his biggest fight. So I can't sit up here and say it's not his biggest fight. But, personally, I don't feel like it is. I don't feel like there's nothing really on the line. It's not for the belt. It's really nothing for him to really prove. It's more so for Ryan to prove. He's been wanting this fight for so long. Ever since he got into boxing. Like I said, I feel like personally, Tank should be going after Devin Haney. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the one. But, we'll see what happens with this fight and, what's going on with Devin and his fight. And we'll see if somebody calls out somebody and, get that thing cracking.
Right. Well, Devin's fight's coming up on May 20th. And he's got a good opponent too. But Devin Haney actually said a little while ago that whoever wins the fight between Tank and Garcia will take on. Personally, I do think Tank's going to take this one. It's hard to think otherwise when you just see how good of a fighter he is defensively and offensively. You just pound for pound, you just can't beat him. But with Devin Haney already fought Ryan in amateurs, several times. And I think if I remember correctly, I remember seeing that Devin Haney won every time.
Yeah, so
it's like, what's the point?
I don't know. Maybe Ryan wants to get his get back, gets his little revenge. It's amateur, so it's amateur. It's not the pro, It's amateur is amateur. Once it's pro, that's what really counts. But yeah, I don't know. Even if, I feel like if Devin Haney calls out Tank, I got Tank beating Devin Haney.
Yeah.
Tank, and I saw an interview, Adrian Broner came out and pretty much said what went down and pretty much said that Tank cracked him and pretty much almost knocked him out. And they all had to step in the ring like, yo, dude, he's only 17. Chill out. I feel like, if Broner didn't get in that ring, his team, I feel like it would have been game over already. So I feel like, Tank's going to beat him there. But Devin Haney, he's fought a lot of opponents too. Times has changed. Could have became a better man.
He's older, he's faster, and he's stronger. I think now would be a lot better of a fight. I still have Tank coming up on top of that one too. But I wouldn't be against seeing Ryan and Devin Haney fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it either. Like I said, it'd be good for Ryan to show that, he's improved as well. Because like you stated, he lost to him already, I think, twice. So for him to, step into the pro where it actually matters and beat him, it would be good for his name, and it'd show that he improved and became a better fighter against that. Also, another thing, like, back to the whole Ryan and Tank thing, another reason why I feel like Ryan's not going to win is because he just has a lot of problems. Like, he doesn't keep his right hand up. He's always dropping his right hand. I saw a video on Instagram, of Ryan when he was young. Maybe he had to be like 12, 13. He was training. He was hitting the punching bag, and he kept dropping his right hand. Well, I know his trainer, had put a bag in between his side and his arm. Then he had to keep, the bag up. And every time he go to throw a punch, the bag would fall because he's constantly dropping his right hand. And, and when you watch Ryan's fights, he's constantly dropping his right hand. And like I was telling you before, like I kind of feel like maybe that's his tactic. Like people, when you drop your hand, people are going to go and attack. So, Ryan has a mean right hook. So maybe that's the reason why he drops his right hand. He drops his right hand to kind of lure you in. Mm-hmm. And then when you think you got him, bang, that's when, what I mean? Bang, that's when he gets you.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. I've also seen him drop his right hand. I mean, that's how, Luke Campbell came around with the left and knocked him down. I mean, it's just, you got to keep that right hand up. If he kept his right hand up, I mean, people wouldn't score as many points as they do with their lefts on Ryan. But with the whole, I was watching a video earlier, and I also think Ryan uses that right hand as a tactic because I forget which fight it was. I think it was actually Fortuna. I was watching this earlier on Facebook. He dropped his right hand, and when he was coming over, boom, quick left. He has a really fast and good left hook. And going back to Tank called him out on it. He said all he's got is a left hook. You look at his fights, that's all he's been dropping people with is a left hook.
Yep, lefts and rights. And like Tank said, he's not a complete fighter. I haven't seen nothing else that Ryan really, pulled out of his bag, out of his arsenal to really say he's a complete fighter. He's also flat-footed. Mm-hmm. He has to work on that. I feel like that would be improvement for him in the ring because there's going to be a lot of movement. Tank's going, as soon as that bell rings, Tank's going to go in an attack mode, and if that boy's flat-footed, that's going to bite him.
Oh yeah, and going back to when Ryan took that exhibition with Manny, I think the reason why back then was because he didn't want to step in the ring with Tank at that time because he definitely would not have came out on top. No. He has more of a chance now just because he has improved over the last couple of years. He's gotten a lot stronger and surprisingly a lot faster. But I do think that he took that fight with Manny as a way to try to get out of the fight. But I think, so much people on social media just got inside his head. And, over the last couple of years, he's like, all right, you know what, I'm just going for it. So he signed a contract that really just goes against him. I mean, he's used to being around like 150, 155, and then dropping down to like 140 for a fight. He hasn't been under 140 for a fight since I think 2021. And it's just he's got to do it. He wanted 140, Tank wanted 135. Originally Tank wanted 135. Ryan said 140. They gave him 136. No rehydration clause. He signed the contract. He can't walk in that ring above 146 pounds, and that's what the contract says. And he's got to do it.
And that's the thing too. People are pretty much saying like, why is he putting a rehydration clause? I personally, I think it's a whole mind game thing. Like he's playing chess. He's playing chess with that man. Ryan pretty much called him out about his professionalism. How he showed up to Showtime for the press conference late. And I've seen people talk about. I saw this one guy who worked for Showtime pretty much saying that he was receiving text messages that Tank was already there. So like I said, right. I think Tank is just playing mind games with this man. You see it all on Instagram. Ryan's posting he hates this. Losing weight sucks.
Mm-hmm.
He hates that he can't eat as much. And the thing too is that, like you said, you prepared. You wanted this fight. You called him out. So you gotta take it. He's the champ. He didn't call you out. He like I said, he has nothing to prove. You called him out. Therefore, you got to take what's handed to you. And the thing too is that it's not like he's the only one who has a rehydration clause. It's for both boxers. It's not.
Right,
It's
right.
not just him. It's Tank too. So, but I think Tank is handling it much better. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole mind game with chess, Tank's handling it much better. I think it might be affecting Tank too, but he's not showing it.
If it's affecting Tank, I mean, you'll never be able to tell. But one thing I could say, he's hungry. He's ready for this fight. I mean, just seeing all these, sparring videos and just him fighting bigger opponents just to get down that technique for Ryan. I mean, it's just, I'm worried for Ryan, to be honest. I mean, I think Ryan, he's a great fighter. He's got great potential, but he should have been taking boxing a little bit more seriously over, COVID. I understand mental health is a huge, huge problem, and everybody needs it to be where they need it to be so you can do what you need to. But in boxing, it's bad if you take off. And that's what Canelo was saying to him. He was like, listen, I'm all for being in, for mental health and getting yourself right, but you got to do it. You got to fight whether you want to or not, because you get off of that off track, you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. Mental health plays a major part, but like you said, yeah, dude, I feel as though Tank might have been practicing this entire time, that whole entire time in COVID. Yeah, he's a celebrity. We're both celebrities. So yeah, they're gonna go out to clubs, they're gonna party, they're gonna do their thing, but you can tell, Tank, you can tell Tank has been putting in the work. Like you said, I feel like Tank is hungry for this fight too. Tank is sparring with people. Tank is sparring with middleweights.
Yeah.
So he's coming prepared. But that, like you said, but that goes to show that Ryan does have power.
Right.
Because he's sparring with middleweights, so he's bracing his body for heavy hits.
Yeah.
So I think they're both hungry. I think they're both gonna come. Like I said, I think Tank's gonna step out. Big dog, number one. I think he's gonna step out, and I think he's gonna call out Haney.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a great fight. I agree with you. I think, Tank's going to win, but I think he's going to be like, damn, okay, I didn't know Ryan had that. Or like, he knows that he has some speed, but I don't think he understands. Like, people really do underestimate Ryan. And, this whole time I know I've been saying, Tank got it, Tank's this, Tank's that, which is all true, but Ryan is also one of the fastest punchers I've ever seen. I mean, I'm only 24, but just like you, I've been watching boxing since I was a little kid. I used to box myself. I've seen fighters. Kermit Cintron boxed at my gym. My coach was his coach. And, then he moved on forward in the pros, and he actually fought Canelo, which, it's a cool little fun fact. But the fact that Canelo is like, Tank's got this. Canelo's on Team Ryan. But what do you think? How do you feel about Floyd kicking Tank out of his gym?
I can't. I don't really. I feel like it's definitely personal tension between the two. We can't see what's behind closed doors, but like I said, I definitely feel like there's tension between the two. I kind of think it's a sucker move. Like, at first you're like, yeah, like I want, I'm rooting for Tank. Like he's gonna kill him, and now you're kicking him out the gym. I think that's kind of weird. Like I said, them two are both men. This fight's gonna do numbers. This was your protege. This was supposed to be the next Floyd. So to kind of act like that, I think it's kind of lame. Like I said, squash the beef. It's a business,
right?
But still, I mean, even if Tank he still has his coach, and he's also sparring with Sean Porter's dad.
True.
So I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think Tank is taking this to a different level. Like I've never seen a man like this. Like kind of like get so much help and so much, training and so much coaching. So we'll see.
You know what I want to see more of? Ryan's videos, his sparring videos, his training videos. I seen him train with Rolly Rolly made the same mistake that he did with Tank. Got hit. He's he's irrelevant.
Yeah, like Rolly.
He's irrelevant.
It's cool though. Rolly and Tank are cool now. I don't know if you saw the video, but they're cool now. They pulled up on each other, shook hands. Had a drink.
Yep.
So it's good that they're together. But yeah, Rolly, that man. Nothing against Rolly because it's like you said, it's hard and it takes real good skills to become a pro and win. So I'm not going to discredit the man, but
and it did take a little bit for Tank to get used to his awkward fighting style.
It did. But I don't know. I think Tank was playing with him a little bit, especially in that fight. Tank was not paying attention to that fight. I think Tank knew from the rip, like, yeah, like I got this. Like he was sitting there dancing, talking to his mom, looking around the crowd and the audience. I don't think Tank really took that serious. I think he knew he had that fight in the bag, so I don't know. And here's the thing too, Rolly, he started boxing at 18. Tank started boxing at 3.
Right.
So I feel like Rolly still got more to work on. Clearly, he got knocked out in training with the same hit, same way.
Different fighter.
Yep. So, and another thing too, crazy that Rolly said that Ryan hits harder than Tank. I think that's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's a hot take. I think that's kind of crazy to say that because Tank, like I said, Tank has.
It's in the name.
Yeah,
like he might not be tall, but he packs a punch.
Absolutely. He says it all the time. Tank says all the time, he got 2 twin Glocks. Yeah. You know how hard a Glock hits, so ain't much to say to that. But yeah, just for him to say that's kind of crazy. But that he might be right. I'm out in the ring getting punched by Ryan or by Tank, so I really can't say much. But from seeing fights and how dangerous Tank knocks people out, and I don't know.
We saw Barrios, we saw Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Just these guys just got boom, boom.
Yes. Heads popping back, looking dangerous.
Yep. Sweat flying off, and he's just all you see is just Tank's eyes focused in. Boom, boom.
So, we'll see. But hopefully, you're room for Ryan.
Room for Ryan? You know what? It's a hot take, but I'll do it. I'll root for Ryan.
Okay.
Root for him.
We'll see. I'm putting the bag on Ryan. I'm going to Parks. I'm putting up a little bit of money because look, I'm going for Tank. But if for some reason Ryan beats him, that's a nice little cash out. I like to have a little bit of money. So
right.
But April 22nd, hopefully hopefully somebody will shock the world.
Yeah, one of them will.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see who does it. And hopefully after that, the winner fights Devin Haney.
Yep.
That'll be another great fight. But, all right, well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for coming by. And at the end of each video, we're going to have a little interview for this program we're interning for called Game Speed Elite. So we're going to show you guys some of the players that were former players who are now either college students or graduated from college. They used to play for Game Speed Elite and their parents. So be sure to watch, and you can watch the interviews as well. See how cool these kids are. Thanks. Okay. All right, recording is in progress. So, Miss Natalia, we will start with you.
Okay, perfect.
What brought you to the United States from Panama?
Okay, so I moved basically more or less 2 years ago. To go a little bit back, Jensi had the opportunity to play in California in high school just before the pandemic. He went there on his own, and then the pandemic came and everything shut down, including the team. So he went back to Panama, and we did a second attempt to go to the US here to Orlando 2 years ago, a little bit more than 2 years ago.
Okay.
So basically when he started in August 2021, 2020, the school. He was on by his own, and then AAU time came up precisely, and the
Mhm.
school where he was attending was Montworth Academy, which is known for basketball and everything.
Okay.
And they wouldn't support him a lot in the AAU, so they said, well, he can practice in AAU, but they would not offer any transport. He cannot live by his own, even though he was 18 years old by then. So I had no other choice to come here, like for
Right.
5 months to join him for the whole season for AAU. And then afterwards, I decided to stay because I wanted to join him in the rest of his journey. Um, going into college, watch his games and everything. So I said, well, if I'm already here, I will stay. That's more or less
Awesome.
the way it went.
That's awesome. Hmm.
Exactly.
Interesting. So, what differences in life do you see here in the United States versus in Panama?
Well, if we talk about a little bit of the opportunities for the kids, I think, and for us, it was going well in Panama, but I think for a lot of kids, they really have no opportunities. School system is very bad. So if you want to have more or less a decent education, you have to go to private schools, which is probably way different than here. Here you have public schools, which are perfectly fine. That is
Mhm.
not the case in Panama. And even basketball wise, they can play at school, but they're not seen from anybody. So there's just they play for fun and they do it competitively, but if they really want to pursue a career or play college basketball, they have to move to the States because if not, they won't be seen at all in Panama. So that's probably the difference. As well as I'm always amazed is even though community centers here, they have great basketball courts, everything. You don't find
Right.
that. I
Right.
remember Jancy was playing always like with I don't know, 90, 100 degrees with a lot of humidity in the air, and that was his practice time. So that doesn't exist here. So it's a way different from infrastructure wise. And as well, what probably amazed me here is negatively, I say that is the amount of racism between different cultures is very different how it works back in Panama. And as well that everybody can have a firearm. So that's like things which are completely new for us and for me especially. So this was still shocking for me. But it's like
Yeah.
something which is a negative side, but anything else is really a positive surprise. Yes, what we have back in Panama.
Okay. Okay.
Like,
So, what do you think made you and Jancy select Game Speed Elite?
well, it was because Jantis coach at Montverde Academy, we were asking proactively so he can have the opportunity to play in AAU, and they recommended us to Coach Dan, basically. So
Mhm.
Jancy did all the tryouts with Coach Dan, and we liked the program from the beginning because personally, I like the way Coach Dan coaches the kids.
Mhm.
It's a very nice way. You see a lot of different coaches in basketball, so I liked really the way he teached the lessons to the players and how he coached them. And that's where we stayed. I think that it was like the first time we saw the program, we really liked it. And that
Mhm.
Chelsea has been there for 2 years, sequences.
Wow, awesome.
Mhm.
So, what differences in or what growths or maturing have you seen in Jancy since he has started with Game Speed Elite that he might not have had the opportunity to change his ways if he did not go with Game Speed Elite?
I think the most what I can see, and probably Jancy can tell better, but I think the most I can see from my ignorant view of basketball, because he always asks me, Mom, you don't have any idea of basketball, so I'm I'm cautious about that. But I think what I could see is that his self-confidence went up a lot because at Montward he got very few playing time, and when he did a small mistake, they would take not just him, they would take players right away out of the game. And I think the Coach Dan did a really great job of the kids and not to punish them for every little mistake they make during the game and give them the opportunities to correct the mistakes and to get better and have more self-confidence. And it's not just something I saw with Jancy. I was involved a lot in the program and I saw that with several kids that their confidence went up a lot and some boys really did change their whole game because of it. So I think that's a great way how players improved during the time at Game Speed.
Wow, that's awesome. That really is. So, was there any colleges or specific career path that you wanted Jancy to follow?
Well, as Jancy knows, I mean, I'm very happy he plays basketball, but for me, education is more important because even though he can have a great basketball career, you can be injured at any time, and it sets an end point to your career. So I think for me was always the goal to have him have his joy and play his sport he likes, which is basketball, which is his dream, but combine it with a good education, right? So we worked a lot during his whole life to get a good education for him, international education, so he has all the opportunities open. And coming here, that was for me a very important point that it is a school which fits him. It's not too a big school because there are so many kids in some schools, like 50,000, like UCF, that would probably not work for Jancy. So
Right.
like the school he is at is really the school we wanted him to be at, basketball wise and education wise. So very happy about that.
Oh, good. Good. Okay. So we're gonna move on to Jancy now. All right, Jancy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Yeah.
Good. So what class or year are you in, or if you're already graduated, what school did you go to?
Well, I graduated from Montverde.
Hmm.
I was there for my junior and senior year, and right now I'm a freshman at Rollins College.
Awesome. Awesome. How are you liking it?
It's good. It's a very beautiful campus. It's not too many people, which sometimes could get annoying because you see the same
Right.
people every day. But at least
Right.
it doesn't distract you, and you always have your group of friends.
Right. Yeah. So what would your favorite subject be?
I'd say it's business because
Business. Hmm.
I was a businessman at some point in my life, and my major is business. So
Hmm.
kind of
Nice. Nice. So was that the college that you've always wanted to go to?
like Rollins was definitely a very good option, but as my mom said, like I'm more focused on basketball, but I also have to keep education in hand. But I wanted my first dream was to go to a big D1.
Hmm.
Obviously, I wasn't there yet, so I'm very happy to be here. And then hopefully, maybe in 2 years, advance to a bigger school.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have any athletic and academic goals for college?
Yeah, well, I want to graduate with a high GPA and at least knowing what my job will be if it's not basketball after I graduate. So that's my academic side, and basketball side is I want to try to be the best player that this school has ever had.
Hmm.
And then hopefully if everything pans out, go play overseas somewhere in Europe.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So who would you say your biggest influence is?
I'd say my mom, she is she's one of the most since I was a kid, she's been working hard and she's a young mom. She had me when she was 20
Mhm.
and been working hard every day to give me to provide everything that I've ever needed in my life. Like I couldn't say that I'm missing anything right now. I pretty much have everything I would ask for. And also she also influenced me in a way of her attitude of never giving up. Every goal she has, or if she wants to do something, she goes through it no matter what. But she's never quitting, and that's definitely something I want to be able to show my kids in the future and inherit that like attitude and that.
Right. That's awesome. Parents are everything, man. We're lucky to have them. We really are.
It's true.
So name three people, dead or alive, that you would love to meet and why.
I'd say Hart.
Who?
I'd say Kevin Hart,
Oh,
Kobe Bryant, and I choose Kevin Hart because he's my favorite movie actor, and he's, in my opinion, one of the funniest guys in the world. Like if I watch him, I just have a good time and I would laugh. Michael Jordan and Kobe is they're my two. Well, my LeBron James is also my favorite player, but besides him, those are my two favorite players. And I wish I could talk to them one day because they have that attitude of like their work ethic is something that's out of this world. That's definitely something I need to and I want to inherit,
Right.
get to where I want to be.
Hmm. That's awesome. So what is your favorite experience with Game Speed Elite? It could be a game, event, practice.
I'd say the traveling part and practice, because traveling, you really get to know a bunch of new people. You get to make new connections, new friends. Because some of them are actually still my friends right now, and I would if it wasn't for game speed. And another part is like besides traveling is practice because I like to practice there. It's very competitive. It's it's just very fun. Like the coach Dan really makes it like possible for the practice to be fun and competitive at the same time. So it's a good mixture.
Okay. So if there was a kid right now that was like on the fence about Jamie game or joining Game Speed Elite, and he was like, I want to, but I'm not 100% sure. What could you give him that would convince him completely?
Hmm. I'd say compared to all these other programs, GameSpeed is not expensive if you compare it to all these other high programs. And he really cares. He doesn't like every coach cares about winning, right?
Right.
Especially all these high team AAU coaches, they really care about winning. But I feel like Coach Dan really cares more about their players and their development and to make sure they get into a college with a scholarship. That's his number one goal.
Okay.
Some would say the number one goal is to win games, which
Right.
is which I don't find right because summer basketball is for exposure, not to it's not like a high school game,
Right. Right.
And if I can add something to that, is like, I mean, they're all going to all these events in Atlanta, which is a great exposure. But my experience is that if you're really not one of the top players at the event, I mean, coaches look at you, but it's difficult to get like a commitment at those events for a medium player, right? Like for a normal medium player. But I think really what makes the difference probably to other programs is that Coach Dan really has the relationship with those college coaches, and he makes sure that every of his kids go into college. So I think this, how you say that in English, like this, well, that he's working so hard for the kids to get them into college. I wouldn't necessarily see that in other teams at the same level. So a
Right.
lot of people just think, oh, you're going to the event and you get a scholarship by your own. And that's not exactly, well, that's my opinion. That's not exactly true. So it needs a lot of work from the coaches and the relationships they have to get the kids to college. So I think that's a big difference.
Wow. That's awesome. That really is inspiring. Just, how he truly cares. Because I'm from Philadelphia myself, and there are a lot of coaches who care and everything like that. But when I moved to outside of Philadelphia, right inside Bensalem, it's 2 minutes away from Philly, and I feel like one of the coaches that we had for football, he just cared about winning. He didn't care about anything else but winning.
Yeah,
He's not there anymore. But
I see.
seeing Coach Dan, just take these kids and just change their lives is just really, really amazing to see.
That's true. And he cares about winning. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
Because he gets mad if he doesn't win. But I think it's like just that it's not just the winning. So the winning is more used to reputation wise. So they always know the coaches, hey, I want to go and watch Game Speed Elite because they're used to win, right? I think it's
Right.
it's more on that side than a personal goal for itself.
I got you.
Exactly.
Okay. So, Jancy, I have one more question before we ask questions for both you and your mom. So what's the first thing you do when you wake up and the last thing you do before you go to sleep?
First thing I do pick up is we usually have team workouts. So we either go shoot or we go hit the weight room before classes. So my classes so my day of school starts at 9. So I would probably have to wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock to go hit the weight room or shoot around, depending on days, because sometimes we have different schedules every day. So that's the first thing I would do. It's the workout. Last thing, I'm not gonna lie to you, is probably just be on my phone, talk to people, and then just call it a night.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, okay, now this is for both you and Miss Natalia. So, what's your guys' favorite movie?
I'm gonna let her answer first.
It's a difficult question. I would say one of my favorite movies is Hitch.
Hitch?
Yes.
Love that movie. Will
It's
Smith.
very funny, and there's some good lessons in there. So
Yeah.
it's a cool movie.
It's The Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Okay,
Good movie.
that's a really good movie too. So you guys
Like,
love Will Smith?
Yes.
Yep. Yep. He's awesome.
Very good actor.
Okay, now Miss Natalia, you name three people alive or dead that you would love to meet and why.
Hmm, that's a difficult question. I would say as well, I would join Kobe Bryant. I think he has all what like his how you say this mindset, everything is really admirable. So that's definitely a person I would want to meet. Um, Actually, my grandfathers, because I never met them. So when I was born, they already were passed. So I think just to get to know family-wise more of my own family, that's probably I would like to meet both of my grandfathers, which I never met. And they're free, right? So the last one, probably Tony Robbins. He's
Okay,
alive. It's like,
okay.
but it's a person which inspires me a lot, and I think he has a lot of good business mind and motivation, very down to earth, which I like a lot. So yeah, that would be probably the three persons I would like
Okay.
to meet.
Okay. All great people. All great people. Um, what's your favorite hobby
Mine?
besides basketball? Both of you.
I like to cook. I like to run, rap, especially drive around. If I had a car of my own, I'd probably have in 2 months probably around 80,000 miles on it.
And no
I
money.
Right, right, right.
love driving. It's just a big hobby I used to have, and I still have.
Okay. Okay. How about you, Miss Natalia?
Well, when time permits, it's like I would say traveling. I think we're on this earth to see as much as we can.
Mhm.
Very interested in get to know different cultures, going out of comfort zone, traveling to places which not everybody would travel to. Um, I like extreme sports as well, like snow sports, surfing, and all this stuff. Which yeah, that's probably my hobbies when I have time, which is not a lot, but but I would do.
Okay. Now, if you were given tomorrow, if you were given a specific career path that maybe you've always wanted to do, but just never either got the chance or just you don't know, you're up in arms about it. You're not sure if you could do it or want to do it. What would it be and why for both of you?
Go ahead, Jency.
I have a question for that. Is it I choose a job? Is it guaranteed that it will pan out the whole way?
Yes.
So I would probably like if it pans out the whole way instead of playing basketball, I probably want to have my own business
Okay.
because yes, I love basketball, but at the end of the day, basketball is not going to be here forever.
Right.
So I might choose basketball and then I get hurt the next year and I'm done, and then I gotta start working and stuff like that. So I'd rather have a business that pans out the whole way, and that in that way I can support my family and my future family too.
Okay. So I'm going to counter that with what business would you want to start?
Uh, I mean the only idea I have as of right now is my own clothing brand.
Okay.
That's right now. That's all I have.
Okay. It's solid. Okay. How about you, Miss Natalia?
Well, I pretty like very much what I'm doing, so I couldn't say I would do anything different. So I'm a financial advisor, and probably if I could choose and something I would love, Jancy, hopefully he one day can do that as well, is like to get or to increase my clientele with athletes because I think there's a lot of financial uneducation and a lot of money around, which you always see a lot of examples, NBA players who earn millions and then end up broke. And so I think it's like this kind of added value to people who really needs it as well. My clients are more entrepreneurs. They know exactly how to go how to treat money, how to invest. I'm helping them either way, but it's like it's
Yeah.
not the same added value you can generate in this space. So that's probably one thing. And I think as well, if I could wish, I would probably would like to see how it is to be a lawyer. So like a corporate, successful corporate lawyer, that would call my attention as well. Very
Okay.
interesting
Okay. Awesome.
part as well.
Awesome. So for you, Miss Natalia, if you could convince a parent to sign their child up for Game Speed Elite, how would you do it? Or what would you give them that'd be like, okay, I think that's beneficial for my child?
Well, I think there are three reasons. So the first of all, what Jancy a little bit mentioned is the price. So I think you can see there, and if you sum up one and one, you will see that the program costs a lot more what he's charging. So I think there you can see the real that he's really compromising a lot and dedicating his time for free to those kids. So I think that's for me a very good point to join the program, his connections with the college coaches, and just the education behind it. So he's not just correcting the kids, he gives a lot of his experience he had as a player to the kids, how to lose, how to win, how to behave and everything. So I think the all around package is like what makes it really different. So we didn't have another experience with another team, but I would say from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, I would definitely, and I'm always like the one who tries every people I know who wants their kids in AAU, but I always trying to get them to Game Speed, and it worked out for a lot of other colleagues from Gen Z as well. So I mean, that's the most important thing. What you want as a parent for your child is to be seen, to be helped, and to have a good education, right?
Okay. Okay. All right. That's all I have for you guys. So I appreciate you guys coming out here and, giving your time up. I'll be incorporating this into mine and my friend's podcast, and we'll let you know when, everything's coming out.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Colby.
Absolutely. Have a great one, guys.
You too.